Yo, what's up, everyone? How's it going? Thanks for tuning in to Fun Speculation. Mav here. This is not a Sunday night solo stream. This is a Tuesday night solo stream. And I got some things I want to talk about. Thanks for being here. If you're tuning in either live or if you're tuning in after the fact. I'm gonna get my lighting's all fucked up right now. Hold on. I got to fix this. This ain't right. I don't know why it's like not how it's always. Here we go. There we go. That's better. I just realized my lighting's all fucked up. That's better. You can see me clear now. Shout out to the chat. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you either if you're tuning in now, if you're tuning in later. You all rock. Thanks for all the support on the channel. If you do like the content here, hit the like button, share it out, sub, and all that kind of cool stuff. Hit the notification bell. It greatly helps us grow. Helps people find the channel. It helps all of our shows and everything. So, again, thank you. But, yeah, gonna have an interesting little discussion tonight. Got some things I want to talk about. Sometimes on our podcast, you know, we don't have time to get to everything. And it's a good time to just chill, hang out with you guys. I was free for a couple hours here. So we're going to sit down. We're going to shoot the shit and talk about some of this stuff we've been seeing going around today. More talk about, stuff that we saw yesterday. And I'm going to touch on something that I didn't get to last week that I feel like is worth a discussion as well. But I see this chat's already here showing up. You guys are amazing. Shout out to Ghost Fixer, Poison Maniac, Tony Grasso, Jigga J, Niturnal, Game Shark, Blackcarde, Depka, Sherwin Williams. I love your paint. Def Leopard, what's up? Drawn TJ, Vik The CLiCK, RSJ fan, how's it going? Drawn TJ hit us with a 4-month membership message. He says, "Hi Mav7, hi everyone. Hashtag hold the line." In the words of King David, hold the line. Let's go. Hold that line. We're trying to hold the line as much as possible here. And you know what? I think Xbox is holding the line for themselves. So a lot of nonsense going on around there, around the internets and stuff. You know, people talking crazy stuff. So we'll kind of try and quash some of that here with the stream. Shout out to Ghost Fixer. How's it going? Frizzle. How's it going? Patman Jones. Yo, what's up, man? How's it going? Yeah, so I was kind of like scouring the web sometimes, you know, looking on Twitter and doing the regular thing, you know, and listening to podcasts, listening to things. It's kind of like we all do here, right? And things are sticking out. But one thing I noticed today was this, the CMA had this, I guess, I don't know if it's a hearing or it's like questions from Parliament over there in the UK, and they were being asked a lot of questions, and we knew this was going to happen because it was already a scheduled thing, and I think it's just kind of talk about, hey, regulation in the UK and what's the processes and how are the processes going and all that kind of stuff. But what we thought was going to happen with this was maybe the CMA might get grilled a little bit from Parliament about ABK. And turns out they were. And it's a very interesting video to see. And this happened like early in the morning here in the US. It was an afternoon time, I think, in the UK, or maybe morning time in the UK when this happened. But interesting stuff here. And I'm going to actually play some audio. And we're going to get to a couple different things going here, but I found this hilarious, right? So we're going to go and I'm going to try and bring this up best I can. I should have set this up beforehand. It's okay though. I got it. Oh, look, perfect. I got it right here. It worked out great. We're going to get to you see some of the stuff I got lined up for us. Right, you can already tell where this is going, based on this shot here. Let me make this a little bit bigger here for you guys. I got some takes here that we're gonna get to, but we're gonna start with this CMA thing. because I found it absolutely hilarious. So I'm gonna start this over. Shout out to Everborn Saga, who's done a great job with content creation, done a great job on Twitter. He also has been talking a lot about this stuff, and he shared a clip today regarding this meeting, I guess, what you want to call it, with the CMA and the Parliament over there. So I'm going to bring this up here.
For example, in relation to merger control, but it could be others, for the UK's international reputation as a place to do business.
So I'll give an initial answer if I may. And then
so what this guy's asking is like, let me play it again.
Of your decisions. For example, in relation to merger control, but it could be others, for the UK's international reputation as a place to do business.
So he's asking, like, do you weigh into your decisions how the world sees the UK as a place to do business, right? He's asking the CMA that.
So I'll give an initial answer if I may, and then Marcus may want to come in as well.
And this is Sarah Cardell. She's kind of like in charge there.
The CMA are absolutely committed to make sure that we support competitive markets in a way that is absolutely good for the UK and the UK's economy. I think competition is a keystone, is an absolutely foundational block of UK competitiveness. You want to have strong competition in markets that promotes growth, it promotes innovation.
Everybody's in favour of competition in markets. What I'm asking you very precisely is the international reputation of the UK.
So basically, he's saying, you didn't answer my damn question. Like, I get that. Why are you talking about competition and like why competition is important all of a sudden? That's just like saying, like, hey, competition is important. We're a regulatory body that tries to keep that's answer the question. Answer the question.
Do you consider that at all, either on a decision by decision basis or strategically, both of you as the leaders of the organisation, do you consider that as the UK being somewhere that is seen as open to business? Yes or no?
Individual cases need to be decided on their merits. When we're looking strategically at the role of the Competition Authority, absolutely we will consider the impact of the decisions that we have and the impact that has for the UK economy, including the reputation externally. I believe that strong competition is a very positive signal for the UK's reputation externally.
Well, it doesn't seem like that according to big tech and business and everybody else who's talking about the UK and afraid of over-regulation in the tech industry right now. As we heard a lot of people like, oh yeah, this is great for business. I haven't heard that take whatsoever. And it's like she's saying that, yeah, our regulatory process is great for our reputation here. We're really taking it into consideration that when we shut down a deal and block a deal that's going to impact the rest of the world, it's great for our reputation. Yeah. Okay, whatever. Let's get back to it.
For example, in relation to merger control, you as the leaders of the organisation, do you consider that as the UK being somewhere that is seen as open to business? Yes or no?
Individual cases need to be decided on their merits. When we're looking strategically at the role of the Competition Authority, absolutely we will.
I love this guy's questions.
The impact of the decisions.
It's like he's like,
that has for the UK.
I think he's an Xbox gamer and he's like following everything on Twitter because he's asking the same questions that everybody's been talking about
for the UK's reputation externally.
Right. So could I reinforce that perhaps? And because I think that I understand the inference that a decision is made that blocks a deal, and then there's questions about is the UK business.
Because that's what everybody's talking about right now.
The premise in a way that somehow the two are connected. So there's a very big difference. I think all businesses know there's a very big difference between building a business, investing in a new business, investing in a startup, creating a new business.
So you're saying this guy is basically saying that, well, you can start up a business or, operate within your own business, but we're not going to allow any acquisitions? It basically is like what he's saying, that's not considered business. You know how much that happens? They even talk about later how much that happens.
There's a big difference between that and buying an already established, well-established firm with established positions. The two are not the same. I think the UK
It's
has
business.
always encouraged.
Acquisitions
and
are business.
CMA's duty to support and encourage open competitive markets. And so all our decisions absolutely are about encouraging and promoting open competitive markets where innovations can flow freely. We are vigilant, as it is our duty to be vigilant, about investments that consolidate and entrench market power. I think
In a market that barely exists.
I would challenge the premise that there is a impact on international confidence in the doing business in the UK. That the best way that confidence.
Well, have you been paying attention, buddy? Because it seems like a lot of people are lacking confidence in the UK because of this, with the CMA's decision to block this deal, seeing it as anti-business.
Is served is by.
He can disagree all he wants, but if he's paying attention to the real world out there, then it doesn't make any damn sense.
Turning a blind eye to anti-competitive mergers.
Anti-competitive mergers?
But that is...
Didn't the EU just say it's a pro-competitive merger that's actually going to increase competition with their concession? With the concessions that they've gotten, didn't they say it's actually going to increase competition in that space?
Assumes that your decision is correct. I mean, what is interesting, as the chair has already said, is that the European Union has taken a different decision, and it is not necessarily unusual or strange for an international body that doesn't necessarily know the UK very well to therefore perceive the EU to be somewhere that is the EU competition authority to be more flexible or to be more forward-thinking in terms of this area than the UK. Do you worry about that perception?
I would worry about a perception that
the UK Parliament sure is worried about that perception. That's why they're asking these questions.
Markets because
they're worried about it. They're strongly worried about it right now. Remember, the Prime Minister of the UK was like, "Hey, this is not true. We are open for business and all this kind of stuff."
I see in the numbers that the vast majority, there are thousands of merger and acquisition transactions happening in the UK every year.
We just decide to block the ones that are going to give us attention. What the hell just happened? Come on, bring it back.
For example, in relation to merger control, but it could be others, or an international...
I would worry about a perception that the UK allows anti-competitive mergers to go ahead and restrict competition in markets, because I see in the numbers that the vast majority, there are thousands of merger and acquisition transactions happening in the UK every year. A certain number of those hit the CMA. And the ones that ultimately get blocked are a handful. And the reason they get blocked is only in a situation where the CMAs and the independent panel believe there is a real and credible risk of harm to people or to businesses through anti-competitive situations. And so the business environment and the business investment landscape is influenced by many factors, but the ability...
What happens if you're wrong?
To compete and the knowledge that you can compete unconstrained has always, in my conversations and in my experience and in the experience of many studies, been a core driver.
Okay, just on sort of the international aspect of this, to what extent, and this is a question probably for Ms. Cardell, but to what extent does the CMA discuss and coordinate with authorities considering the same mergers in other jurisdictions?
And how much collusion do you have with the FTC? Let me reword that. Are you colluding with the FTC? Is there collusion? Is there collusion with the FTC right now? This is greatness.
So, for example, did you interact with the FTC in the US?
This is about to get really good.
In the stages of examining this case?
Yeah.
And what weight do you put on those discussions?
They have.
So I'll maybe take the answer generally and then come to the specifics. So the starting point, I should emphasise, is that we are very mindful that we are looking, post-Brexit, we are looking at a significantly larger number of global transactions than we would have done previously.
And we don't know what the hell we're doing.
And that means as a merger control authority, we are likely to be looking at deals alongside other authorities, such as the European Commission.
No shit.
And the US authorities. So when we're looking at those deals, of course we are highly mindful of the fact that we want to ensure continuity and a sort of integrity of analysis to the extent possible. Alongside that, our responsibility at the end of the day is to look at the impact for the UK. So we're balancing those two aspects. To answer your question then in terms of specifics and engagement, the extent to which we engage with other authorities on individual cases will depend on whether there are waivers in place from the merging parties that enable us to have specific conversations.
So yeah, if there's waivers in place, they're allowed to talk to other regulatory bodies and discuss this. What she says, there's certain waivers in place. It's very interesting.
In relation to the deal. In this case, for example, we had a waiver in place that was granted by the parties that enabled us to have conversations with the European Commission at appropriate points along
And
the
the
way.
US FTC?
I'm not sure it's appropriate to get into the specific.
Do you notice how she dodged that? Did you have waivers in place to talk to the FTC? I'm not sure it's appropriate to talk about that.
Of the case.
Well, you can say whether
Speak up.
you talk to them or not.
We did not have to, in the latter stages, we did not have a waiver in place, and therefore we were more restricted in our ability to have.
In the later stages, we didn't have a way. She couldn't answer this question. In the later stages, we didn't have a waiver in place, so we're more restricted. They met with the FTC a couple weeks before this decision went down. That's actually a factual. Oh my fuck, you stupid piece of Twitter.
For example,
Come on.
Well, you can say whether you talk to them or not.
We did not have to, in the latter stages, we did not have a waiver in place, and therefore we were more restricted in our ability to have specific.
How late were the latter stages?
I don't have the specific
I don't remember. It was only a few weeks ago, but I don't know.
details of when that position changed.
So what you're saying is from a particular point, say X number of weeks or months before the final decision, you did not have any interaction with the US FTC at all?
There would have been general conversations with the FTC, but we were limited in the conversations that we have because there was no waiver in place.
I've been made aware that there is a perception in certain competition circles that...
She can't answer the question because guess what? It's probably illegal.
The nature of the burden of proof that the CMA has to discharge, i.e. a comparatively low burden of proof compared to, for example, in the US where they have to sue. It's a litigation system.
Oh, this is
whereby,
a
as you
spicy
explained
question.
at the beginning, in a court-based process, means that the CMA effectively can operate on a future likelihood of harm, whereas in the United States, in a court-based process, they have to demonstrate evidence of harm. Is that your understanding of it, as somebody who knows much more about competition law than I do? And then,
is it your understanding that you can just say whatever you want and that in the United States they have to prove it?
therefore, there is a feeling that perhaps if there has been discussions and cooperations with the FTC, it may be useful for the FTC, for the CMA to block something that they may not be able to do in their own jurisdiction.
It may be useful the FTC to use you as a puppet.
The first point I would like to clarify is that the CMA will take its decisions based on our assessment of a merger. And we are absolutely not, and I would clarify this because I think there's been some speculation on this, for example.
I wonder why.
In the press.
Is it because you couldn't answer the question about when you met with the FTC? And if you were even allowed to meet with the FTC regarding this case? Is that why there's some speculation?
Absolutely not doing the bidding of other agencies. We undertake our own analysis, and as I mentioned before, we have our independent panel groups who are responsible for those decisions and take those responsibilities incredibly seriously. The forward-looking nature of merger control assessment is common to all jurisdictions. It's inherent in the nature of a merger control assessment that you are looking at what is the impact of the merger. So essentially you are saying, let's take the position in a market without the merger. How do you think that will evolve?
She's completely answering and talking about stuff right now that he didn't ask whatsoever. This is what you call steering the question in another direction, right? Well, let me just tell you a bunch of stuff that you didn't ask. That'll help.
Evolve, how will competition evolve in the absence of the merger? And then you compare that with the position in the event the merger goes ahead, what impact will that have on competition? So that's a forward-looking assessment in any jurisdiction. We, in common with other agencies, will draw on a whole range of different evidence to do that.
Instead of answering the question, let me just explain the whole process of regulatory bodies.
We will hear from the merging parties, we will hear from third parties, we will look at business plans, we will undertake economic analysis, draw on a whole host of different evidence, and we will undertake a forward-looking assessment because that's inherent in the regime. Our standard in the UK is that we have to establish on the balance of probabilities, it's more likely than not that the merger will result in a lessening of competition.
It might harm competition. Maybe. So we're going to block this whole thing. Fucking stupid. Oh my God. What is up with Twitter? Let's go.
For example,
let's get back to this.
And we are absolutely not, and I would clarify this because I think that goes ahead, what impact will that have on competition? So that's a forward-looking assessment in any jurisdiction. We, in common with other agencies, will draw on a whole range of different evidence. To do that, we will hear from the merging parties, we will hear from third parties, we will look at business plans, we will undertake
blah 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 blah. Let me not answer your question.
Assessment because that's inherent in the regime. Our standard in the UK is that we have to establish on the balance of probabilities, it's more likely than not.
We could just
merger will result
make
in
it up.
Of competition. The standard in the US is a litigation standard, but the analysis is inherently the same. The evidential base will be inherently the same. That's also true for the European Commission.
Not true, because in America, the evidential base will go to a court, and if there's no evidence, then it'll just lose, which is going to happen with the FTC.
Our assessment is then subject to judicial review by the Competition Appeal Tribunal in the UK. That is a rigorous process of judicial review.
So rigorous.
And we take that incredibly seriously in making sure that our case is well evidenced and that our decisions are well founded.
Just my final question.
Yeah, but she just said they don't require evidence.
So in relation to the issue of the US FTC, you weren't terribly clear about the extent of your communication. Are you happy to detail to the committee, in private if necessary, how many contacts you've had, oral and written, with the US FTC in relation to this case?
We can provide further follow-up to the committee, yes.
So
sure. Sure, we can try.
So you'll be able to say, over the last X number of months, these are the amount of discussions that were had.
Subject to appropriate confidentiality, we will follow up with the committee, yes.
Thank you very much. I mean, this...
Woo! Oh. Ooh, spicy questions here. Spicy questions. Very, very telling as well. Questions that can't be answered. How many times have you spoken with the FTC? Did you have waivers to speak to the FTC like you did the EU? When is the last time you spoke to the FTC? What happened was, you think, talk about pressure, leverage. You talk about UK being closed for business. You talk about all these things. You talk about collusion. You talk about FTC using the CMA as puppets. You talk about all these scenarios. You talk about all this stuff. Seems like the UK Parliament is interested in those questions as well. It's very interesting. Very interesting. It's not just... You see the people on Twitter and stuff be like, you guys stop making stuff up. It's just the CMA is just, they're just doing their job. This is bad for gamers. Regardless of the other 37 regulatory bodies that already approved statements like it's better for competition. These concessions that Microsoft's agreed to is actually going to help the industry. It's going to help the competitors globally. Meanwhile, CMAs, maybe it might harm competition, and we have to provide solid evidence of that, but yet we don't have to provide evidence like the FTC does. Were you being used as a puppet by the FTC? Let me explain how the regulatory process works. We take this, and then we take that, and then we compare. And then we see if this might be worse than that. And then we see what's going on. And then we make our decision. And guess what? There's hardly any recourse against us. Interesting. It's all very interesting. It's very rigorous to put all those emojis on Twitter. Very rigorous. Shout out to the chat. I found that very interesting this morning when I woke up. I saw this. I was like, what is going on here with this? Like, are you serious? Like, this runaround, this completely avoiding pretty much every question that was asked. I feel like there's a lot of pressure from the UK government here to try and put the pressure here on the CMA to get this deal closed. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Who knows what's going to happen, right? We don't know everything that's going to happen. But I do feel like there is pressure from more than just Microsoft and ABK. There's pressure from the actual UK itself. Pressure from other businesses, pressure from employees, pressure from a lot of different sides saying, why did you fuck everybody, CMA? Why did you do this? Interesting today also. Let's get to this little comment. Check this out. I love this one. Look at Satya. That man is. People don't think Xbox and Microsoft is invested in gaming. Look at this man right here. Answering questions about the EU Microsoft deal. He says a headline right there. It says EU approves Microsoft Activision deal. Satya Nadella on regulation. Listen to this man.
Could you ever see an age where you would sell the product in the U.S. if it was approved, sell the products in Europe, and not sell it in the U.K. if they didn't approve it?
Let's wait for it all to play out.
Could you ever see
Let's listen again.
an age where you would sell the product in the U.S. if it was approved, sell the products in Europe, and not sell it in the U.K. if they didn't approve it?
Let's wait for it all to play out.
Could you
Woo! That's not a no. That's definitely not a no. People saying, well, they can't do that. They can't figure out a way to maneuver around the CMA and the UK to get this deal done. They can't do that. They would never leverage. 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 Microsoft is invested in this deal. Microsoft really wants this deal to happen. It has more implications for the business of Microsoft as a whole than just Xbox as well, because it has to do with the cloud and investing and money coming in that's going to help with a lot of different scenarios there. Remember the articles like, if ABK closes, remember the pundits? If ABK closes, it doesn't close. Microsoft, there's pundits saying that Microsoft might just like sell Xbox. Here's Satya saying, like, with that smile, we'll just wait and see what happens. Not saying no to would they stop selling some products in the UK to get around this deal. That's talk about investment, talk about leverage. Microsoft has a lot of leverage here against the UK. They have so much invested with the within the government as far as security and doing all these different things, and they fund different scenarios within, like, even the stock exchange there. It's I don't know what they call it there, but like interesting stuff all across the board going on with this deal. And Microsoft still invested, heavily invested. They ain't gonna just back down because of the CMA. Now, what we said on the show the other day is once the EU approved this, the EC approved this, and it's a slam dunk in the EU. That was the last chip to fall that really was going to impact this deal as far as them not being able to move forward, except for the CMA. So the CMA is the last challenge here. You know, the CMA's got pressure from the government, pressure from Microsoft, pressure from all sides, being questioned about hurting business in the UK. Now Microsoft backing that up with a sly smile from Satya. Well, basically, never say never. We'll wait and see what happens. We'll wait and see what happens. Well, I don't want to talk about that until we see what happens. That's not a no. Whew. Satya with the strong words. Few words on that sentence, but very strong. Man. Crazy. I shout out to the chat again. We got 137 people here. If you like the content here on the channel, hit the like button, share us out, sub to the channel, hit the notification bell, all that and more. I want to say hi to people here. What's up? Hitting FGS Blunted. What's going on? It says the CMA contradicts what the UK government wants to do. That's why they're concerned. Yeah, they should be, right? They should be. If they're making up stuff for the sake of clout and little markets that are going to struggle to even make it, if Microsoft isn't even more heavily invested, if they're trying to make up some kind of, well, they're going to control everything because they own a few more properties within the cloud. I mean, come on. I mean, they have control over ABK games. It's going to, they're going to destroy everybody in the cloud market now. There's no opportunity for anybody to do anything. Yeah, that's bullshit. And I think the rest of the world sees that. The EU saw that there was potential harm. Guess what? They just got Xbox to sign a concession that's going to affect the entire globe with ABK games going into other cloud services. And that's if you have a license. That even includes Game Pass. So the EU even said themselves, it's actually with the concessions that they've received, they actually are going to be increasing competition. It's actually going to help competition. It's going to help that market survive and be stronger and take off. Meanwhile, the CMA is so worried about a possibility of a slight harm to competition. They're not even willing to look at concessions there. They don't want to regulate anything. They just want to say, you can't do this, can't do that. They don't want to have to enforce rules. They don't want to have to enforce things. Meanwhile, the EU is going to do it for them with a concession. They got the big concession. Affects everybody. Mr. Joanna Darks, what's up, man? Says, that was the savage interview, and even if it's a bluff, it's a good move to put doubt in people's mind about leaving the UK. Yeah, 100%. We don't know what was going to happen, if they would actually do it or not, right? But, like, putting that energy out there is, like, it's enough. It's enough. Like, in Satya, when he's talking to this interviewer, I mean, he's saying these things for not just the interviewer himself. He knows that he's going to be listened to, and guess who's going to be potentially getting word of this? The UK Prime Minister, right? Parliament, the same people that are grilling the CMA with these tough questions right now. And they talk about, well, we're not concerned about people saying we're closed for business. Well, how about the comments from other companies that are saying they're worried about that now? Don't you think that they matter? Interesting stuff. How's it going, Topaz Girl? What's up, Psycho? What's up, Jasper? How's it going? Tim the Sorcerer. Tariq, how's it going? Shout out to Acute Perspective Poison Maniac, the Sousa. 3-Bit, what's up, buddy? 3-Bit says, I have a feeling Cat is going to overturn. Yeah, can Parliament put the pressure on Cat to overturn this? Like, yeah, you got to find a way, right? You got to find a way to overturn this thing. A Fragulous said the walls are closing in. Shout out to Fragulous. Spitan13, what's up? How's it going? Abdel114 says, Bro Mav, just imagine the CMA approved this deal would be already done. Microsoft said they closed over the FTC. 100%. I mentioned that on the show last night. If the CMA hadn't done what they did, the conversation would be having is, when is it officially closed? Because that was the next move. Because they already, yeah, you're right. They did say they'd close over the FTC. And we'll see. Maybe if this appeals process drags on for forever and they don't get the answers they're looking for from, I mean, this is an all-out pressure move here, right? From Satya Parliament's already feeling it. Like, we'll see how much is this going to weigh in. Like, when is this going to get done? I think Microsoft's trying to put enough pressure here to try and get this still done sooner than later. They don't want this to drag out for years. Deccaddo says, "Don't start the pundit train again, Mav. It's pundits, man. Pundits everywhere." Yeah, Satya's smile. That was the best thing here. Topaz Girl says Lena Khan may not be in her position much longer, especially if Biden loses the election next year. Yeah, we'll see. It's crazy. It's just crazy stuff going on right now. But you know what? Like, I have confidence actually because of what's all going on with all this, like the energy that's out there. CMA looking like they do right now, from the Parliament putting those questions on, Satya putting the pressure on. I have confidence this deal is going to get done. And like we said, with the EU approval, with Microsoft be looking for all the different scenarios they can to make this deal happen, right? Like what are they're going through and assuming, okay, well, if the CMA does this, then we're going to do this. If the CMA, if CAT does this, we're going to do this. You know, if we don't get it overturned, then we're going to have to go this direction. I think they already have all those plans in place. They've been one step ahead this whole way with almost this entire process. So they already got to have these things in place. And based on Satya, this guy ain't backing down. There's too much in the cards. Imagine that they allow the CMA just to say, well, we're just going to block whatever acquisitions you make based on hypotheticals that really don't have any actual evidence, and that the actual evidence out there, according to the EU, which is another larger regulatory body, actually says the opposite, that it's actually going to be pro-competition with the concessions put in place. So the evidence, like, how is the evidence that the CMA even said, well, evidence should be relatively the same? Well, then how is your evidence so different than the EU's? Because the EU said the opposite with accepting that concession. So they said they had a different view on the concession. Why? Why? Because according to Microsoft also, they thought that the CMA was going to accept that concession up until the meeting happened with who? Lena Khan. They went dark on them, and then they came out and blocked the deal. There's a lot of reasons why those questions from Parliament were being asked. Satya ain't happy about it. And he's saying, this bullshit's going on in the UK. Guess what? If you don't have the processes and proper checks and balances in place to keep the CMA from being the FTC's puppet, then we'll figure out another way. The CMA can't be the regulatory enforcer for the entire world because they don't have enough checks and balances and processes and procedures against them. That ain't going to fly. Especially not against a corporation like Microsoft on a deal of this magnitude. Imagine, yeah, like I said, the hooded Canucks. So you're saying 37-1 right now? Yes, 37-1. Imagine you're in a room, right? And there's 38 people. Everybody looks at the same evidence. Everybody looks at the same thing. Everybody looks and does their processes. They do their homework. They do everything, right? Everything they're supposed to do regarding looking at the homework and processes and every this whole procedure, the whole regulatory process that the CMA described when they weren't even asked about it. You do all that stuff. And imagine you're in a room of 38 people and a question's asked. Who thinks this is going to be bad? One person raises their hand up. Who thinks this is either going to not matter or be good? 37 people raise their hands up. Who's probably right? Now, what if the one person got to make the rules for the 37. The one person has so much power that when they vote that, nope, not going to happen. And guess what? You can't tell me otherwise, and nobody can even tell me to recheck my work. If I have to recheck my work, I might come to the same conclusion. Interesting stuff. What's up, Xboxer Mike? How's it going? What's up, Calarie? It just doesn't make sense. The odds are not in your favor, CMA. Let's move past this. Yeah, that was interesting. You know, there's a lot on the line here for Microsoft, and I don't think they're going to back down. This EU decision was big. But you know what? We've been talking about on this channel for the last couple weeks here. We've been talking about some double standards. Talking about different things, you know. And guess what? There's a couple things happening out there right now, right? When it comes to this. One thing is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom's getting crazy reviews, 97s and whatever, 96 on Meta, whatever it is right now. Nobody's criticizing it for being on this, for having to be on the platform that it's on. That's fine. It's got crazy high scores, despite a lot of shortcomings as well, because it's a good game, according to many. But there's also, you know, at what point do reviewers hold Nintendo accountable, in my opinion, for having such a shitty device? Like, I feel like there should be a handicap almost on Nintendo games. But like this, interesting enough, Christopher Dring on Twitter today said, I don't think there's any need for a Switch 2. Are we, okay, so is people just okay on playing on that thing for fucking ever? I don't understand. Like, what do we mean? Like, there's no need for a Switch 2? When will there be a need for a new device from Nintendo? Like, there's been a new need for a new device for Nintendo since the Switch came out. It was pretty cool, but it was like pretty much the same as the Wii U power-wise. Like, are we just going to say, hey, we'll just play on this forever and just be content forever with games having to be put on that system? Did they not realize that the system in and of itself is holding back potential of these games? Like, whether it's a new Switch or a new Nintendo device, yes, there's need for hardware, because guess what? Technology advances. Things get better. They're still having to put games on the Switch when it's like, it's so dated, man. Like, to say that there's no need for a Switch 2 or a new Nintendo device, like, if you want to say just, hey, there's no need for a Switch 2, but maybe there's a need for another platform from Nintendo, I could see that argument, because there's no guarantee that the Switch 2 will be as successful as the Switch, because a lot of people might just be content with their Switch. It could be the same with the Wii and the Wii U kind of situation, where it's like, hey, we already got a Wii, we don't need to upgrade this, because guess what? Apparently Nintendo gamers don't give a shit about graphics and about frame rates and stuff. So if that many people don't give a damn about any of that stuff, then maybe they're just fine continuing playing games in that state for forever, right? Maybe that's where he's getting at. Switch is a handheld device. So if you want to make that argument regarding handhelds, I could maybe say, okay, fine. You know what? If people are okay with playing on a handheld device like that for forever, whatever, you know, you can still make really good games on it. But this is coming from the perspective that they don't need to do anything. new. They just keep doing the same thing. And like that's just bad for gaming. Like if we just accept the same thing for forever and don't want any improvements from Nintendo as far as hardware goes, then at what point do we just accept the fact that it's just going to suck forever with the quality of the games being what they are? They're handicapped. It is what it is. I'm not saying they're bad games, but it's not Zelda's fault that it's 30 frames or in subpar to 20 a lot of times. It's not Zelda's fault that it looks kind of like ass, except it has some pretty like art and stuff, you know, with the artistic style of it or whatever, but it's the Switch's fault. Mr. Joanna Dark, who's a huge Switch stan, makes a good point. He says, my game of 2022 was Xenoblade Chronicles 3, and if that game had more overhead in the technology, it would be even more incredible. Absolutely. Like, why don't people want better and are just always okay with just accepting what's given to them from Nintendo? Like, I don't understand I don't understand that thought process. Like, I get it. It's Nintendo. They make good quality games. They make great stuff, right? But if Xbox released a first-party game or PlayStation did that looked like that and had the performance on that, then it's going to get shit on. Point blank. Now people say, but no, Nintendo doesn't really say that they're a huge, powerful platform and can do all this and that. Yeah, that's a fucking problem. I'm not saying they got to be equal to PlayStation or Xbox, but you got to have something at least somewhat closer. You got to have something at least in the same universe of power. Like it's fucking nowhere near it. It's like 2 generations behind. Why not ask for at least something as powerful as last generation hardware? I mean, come on. Like where is the request for better from Nintendo when you even have big industry journalists saying, we don't need it. I'm good playing on this thing forever. Yeah, I understand Nintendo doesn't market themselves that way. Yeah, and they still sell the fucking thing for $300. The Switch OLED is $350. You're still buying the Tears of the Kingdom for $70. Yeah, you may not market it that way, but they ain't priced any different, are they? You can buy a Series S for less than you can a Switch. So at what point do we hold standards equal here? You can say, well, they never said that. Yeah, but they're priced accordingly. Like, I don't get it. They've earned so much goodwill because the games are so good. Great. I want them to even look good and perform good too. That would be even better, right? Wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be amazing if Tears of the Kingdom, it was 60 frames a second and even looked better than it was? That would make me happy. That should make everybody happy. Like, I don't understand. You know how much profit they're probably making on a Switch? God, how much could it cost them to make that device? Mr. Joanna Dark says, let me ask this. As a fan of the other consoles, I've only gotten remastered and prettier games. Despite all that power from Xbox and Sony, nothing has blown us away yet. Fair, Mr. Joanna, but do you look at the games that come out comparatively to the Switch? It's still graphics-wise. I mean, you could look at a game like Dead Island 2 that just came out, and like the Switch is incapable of anywhere in the same realm of that. Like, it's just impossible. Right? So you want to say, yeah, it hasn't blown you away. That's fair. But if your standards are the Switch level graphics, then everything on the Xbox and PlayStation should be blowing you away. Because like everything looks way better. Like it's just I don't know. Like it's an interesting world. Like yeah, I agree that we haven't seen those mind-bending things happening this generation like we all hoped, right? We still got a lot of room to grow, and at least we have the platforms that may make those things possible. Right now, there's no hope or excitement for me from Nintendo about what's to come, other than I know everything's still going to be at the same standard. But even the indie style games and all those things look way better on an Xbox and PlayStation than on a Switch. I mean, it's just like the only benefit to it is it's a handheld device. The menu sucks. It's very basic. The operating system is slow to navigate. The menus are horrible and sluggish. There's no options. There's hardly any other apps or much things to do on the Switch. The Wii and the Wii U had so many more features. The only benefit to the Switch is you can carry it around. That's why I say it's a handheld device. And that's what they want to do. That's cool, but like it's time for a new one so that way you can get somewhat better performance now. Yeah, I'm just, a Series S compared to a Switch is like in another league. Like, has anybody here played Fortnite on the Switch? Go play Fortnite on a Switch and play Fortnite on a Series S. And tell me that which one has a better experience for $300. Not even in the same fucking universe. Yeah, Calarie says Switch is a successor to the 3DS, not the Wii U. Once you realize that, your expectations of the Switch should change. I completely understand that. That's why I've always said the Switch is not a console. I played Splatoon 2, Mr. Drain of Dark, and it's fine. It's fun. I mean, it's a pretty fun game. I don't have any doubt that the Switch has some fun games on it. Like it does. I like some Switch games. I just want better hardware. So these bigger games like a Xenoblade Chronicles, like you mentioned, like a Tears of the Kingdom, things like this, that like a Metroid type games, things like this can have more wiggle room power wise to take advantage of. And the games that should be hitting better frame rates, hit those. For the games that could look better, those scenarios. I'm not asking for every third-party game to come out on it, anything like that. It doesn't have to blow the world away. It doesn't need to be like a PS5 or an Xbox Series X or anything like that. Just improve the hardware. Give us better hardware. That way, your games can take advantage of it. The Switch games, the games that everybody loves on the Switch, the great games, the games that gamers applaud and clap for and say that this is one of the best things ever, can take advantage of that because they will be even better. The fact that people are saying we don't even need it, it's just like accepting a Nintendo for whatever they say. Like, all right, hey, we got this cheaply made device that we're selling to you probably like 5 times what it costs us to make, where the other platforms are losing money. However, that's our model, so it's cool. We're Nintendo, it's our model, right? So we're gonna sell you this device that is dated, old, underpowered. We're gonna sell it to you. We're gonna make a fucking killing in the profit on this thing. It's amazing. We're going to sell so many of them, and we're going to make so much profit, and we're going to put games that are held back by it for years and years and years to come, and you're just going to accept it for forever because that's just our model. It's just what we do. Like, okay, that sounds like shitty to me. I would rather have advancements and improvements along the way, like every other platform. It's just me. Yeah, I agree. It's Superman. It's a handheld with a dock. The Wii and the Wii U had way more console level features than a Switch. I've been saying the Switch it sells as well as it does because it's a handheld. It has great games and it's a handheld, therefore it performs well in the sales market. Handhelds have always sold really well. Plus, this has the feature of being their only console, which is my problem. Not everybody likes playing handhelds. Yeah, so Joy in the Dark says it was rumored that the 3DS cost Nintendo $75 to make and they sold it for $300. That would not surprise me at all. The reason why Nintendo makes so much profit. There's a reason why they got so much cash, right? And meanwhile, they had to sell Tears of the Kingdom for $70. It's only been out 6 years, Calarie. That's fine if they had another console, if they actually had a console out there. If this was if this was the handheld option and they had a console option, then I would be like, okay, cool. Next handheld device you get out there, your expectations of a handheld are different than a console. And my issue with Nintendo is they pretty much just abandoned the actual console market, which kind of abandoned gamers like me. And if it's fine, that's fine if they don't ever go back to that. If the route forward is always a handheld that's dockable, that's cool. But if that's the only thing you're providing, you got to look at the people that like playing console level type games and still put out a device that's going to benefit those consumers. And right now, like, they don't. They can have a more powerful Switch. I mean, how many Nintendo? This is the whole thing is like is so silly because, hey, Nintendo fans, do you want a more powerful Switch? Do you want a new Switch? Do you want to get a new Switch? Do you want a more powerful Switch? Do you want the games to be even better than they are? How many Nintendo fans are going to say, nah? And it's like weird that I even have to defend this like notion of asking for better hardware from Nintendo when like I feel like Nintendo fans, the second the Switch 2 is announced, are going to be like shitting their pants and there's going to be semen everywhere. It's going to be fucking crazy. They're going to be so happy. They're going to like jump up and down. There's going to be like a parade, you know, there's going to be like, oh yeah, fuck yeah. They're going to announce it with a new Metroid or new Mario or whatever, and it's going to look amazing, and everybody's going to be, holy fucking balls, this is what I've always wanted and always dreamed of. Meanwhile, right now, those same people are saying, nah, we don't need one. You know, I got Soul says, Mav, I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom right now, and it's fun. I can only imagine what it would look like with different engine pushing the same art style like Hi-Fi Rush has been pushed. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. I just want better hardware from Nintendo. And I think, honestly, the second that Nintendo finally announces it, Nintendo fans are going to be salivating. But it takes, like, I don't think there's any need for a new Switch or new Nintendo hardware. Is like, it's bad. Because I don't want Nintendo to hear that. Do we want Nintendo to keep selling us the same hardware for forever? I don't. Yeah, Calarie says, I follow a lot of Switch channels, and they have been asking for Switch Pro since 2019. There you go. That's great. So my take that they need one shouldn't be very controversial, or that they should release one. That's all I'm saying. And Doug Bowser has your has your bank account on speed dial. Better hardware and Nintendo don't belong in the same sentence unless it's this sentence. Shout out to Neo. I think that asking for better hardware from Nintendo is not asking for a Series X or PS5 from Nintendo. It's asking for just the next evolution of whatever Nintendo's going to make, and I think it's overdue. And I think it's only overdue because of how much of a killing they're making on the Switch, and everybody's just like, okay. Because people are like, happy is fine. I get that you're happy, but like, wouldn't you be even happier if you had a better one? You know? Like, wouldn't you be even happier if it didn't kind of suck? If the menus weren't slow and sluggish as shit, if the Wi-Fi capabilities were stronger and better range, if the games like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom could perform even better and even look even better than they do, right? Like, wouldn't you be like even happier? Like, I don't think there's any need for a Switch 2, Christopher Drink says. I just don't get it. Neo says, Mav, take it from someone who's been fighting that fight for years. Nintendo does not care. They honestly don't. Their nostalgia and them game sales been carrying them for years, so they don't need, yeah, they don't need it. I just think they could need it if enough people asked for it. And that's why I don't like stuff like this from Christopher Dring saying this stuff. Because he says, I don't think there's any need for Switch 2. Like, come on. Just accept mediocrity forever. Let's go. You know, not talking about the games when I say that. I'm talking about the hardware that is handicapping the games. It's not Zelda's fault. It's not the Zelda developers' fault that Tears of the Kingdom runs like it does and has a performance it does, or it can't look even better than it does, right? They deserve the praise for putting the amazing game out on what platform they have to put it out on. However, it's still a Nintendo product, and it's a Nintendo game that is being released by Nintendo, and they're responsible for the hardware that it's released on. So therefore, for me, all Nintendo games automatically come with a handicap. Those shits start at 8 for me and go down from there. If Switch sales absolutely tanked when the new consoles came out, have a Switch Pro announcement by this point. Yeah, I know the Switch sales were down recently, but they're going to be back up now because of Tears of the Kingdom. So, you know, they're talked about it. Supposedly by April of next year, we'll have some answers, I think. Maybe we'll get an announcement at Gamescom. But they did say there will not be new hardware before April of 2024. So, it is what it is. I will be day one on a more powerful Nintendo device. People don't know this about me. I fucking love Nintendo. I always have. It sounds like I hate them because I always shit on them, but it's because they relegated themselves to making me play on a shitty handheld device that I don't like playing on. I would rather play on a console, right? However, if the handheld device is somewhat capable like a console, I'll accept it. The Switch ain't there yet for me. Will Pong Soul be day one on Switch 2, Mr. Join the Dark? Absolutely not. Pong will not be day one. Jasper says, I think they said they have made $69 billion over the 6 years that Switch has been out. It's fucking crazy. And people just like don't hold them to any kind of standards, really. It's insane. I get it. They're Nintendo. They make amazing games, you know. Hardware is important too. For me, at least. Nine Lives flipping the script on me here. Shout out to Nine Lives. Says, what are you hearing about the Xbox show? Let me go to my DMs. No, I'm just kidding. No, I honestly have no clue. I mean, we know that Forza is probably going to be there. I mean, it's the next big game to release. Starfield Direct is happening, so Starfield has its own thing. I would expect Hellblade 2 to either be there at the Keighley's, just because that's when Phil ran down the list of games, that was next after Forza. And also, we've seen it more times than any of the other games. So I feel like we're going to get Forza. We're probably going to see Hellblade 2, although it's possible Hellblade 2 could show up at the Keighley's just because Hellblade showed up at the Game Awards a couple times, right? If not, it'll be at the showcase. So we'll know on June 8th. If it's not there on June 8th, Hellblade 2, I think it'll be there at the showcase. Then we have to look at Paris's list that he threw out to Phil when Phil was on the Kind of Funny doing his interview with Kind of Funny Games on the Xcast, and Paris ran down a list of games saying, talk about, I think he mentioned Avowed, he mentioned Perfect Dark, he mentioned Fable, and maybe State of Decay 3 as well. I can't remember all the games, but basically Phil said we're going to get updates on some of those games. So which ones? I don't know. But I could say he said more than one, so at least two of those games, I think probably we have Avowed. I'll say Avowed. And Fable. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's time to show Fable. And I think showing Fable would be a big splash. But then he's like, well, those 2 RPGs. And it's still going to have a Starfield Direct. So that's 3 RPGs they're going to talk about at this showcase. Are they going to show that many RPGs? And I second guess myself. Maybe they're not going to do Fable then. Maybe they're going to do Fable at something else. And then maybe they're going to do Perfect Dark. I don't fucking know. It's a hard thing to answer. My hope is we see updates on all of them. And we get the whole fucking slate. And we get games coming soon. We get a lot of games coming out in the next few years. We get a big third-party deals. Rumors are swirling about some kind of third-party game, but who knows what that could be. Calarie says, Jez said the games being shown would make Rand excited, but they aren't games Jez would like. So if games that Jez doesn't like, Jez likes RPGs. I don't know. That's a great question. I know that Jez is not a Fallout. I think, is Jez not a Fallout fan? I think I remember Jez not being a Fallout fan. Maybe Fallout could be a surprise Fallout. I don't know. It's going to be crazy. Like, I really want to see lots of stuff. I want to see the games that we got announced at 2020 show up. We know the Forza was one of them, right? But like that includes State of Decay 3, Avowed, Perfect Dark, and Fable. I want to see those games. It's time. You don't go 3 years and not show games. Like you got to show them some point this year. If they don't show them at the showcase this year, then maybe later this year there's a Dev Direct and they have some stuff at that. I don't know, but you got the Game Awards too. They could have one of those games there as well. But you gotta give us updates on these games that you announced so long ago, because people forget about them. How many times have I got to remind people about that stuff? What is that, 3-bit? Cowboy hat, Cowboy 8? Is that what? Is that some kind of like a clue? Because I know 3-bit knows some shit. Or am I just missing something? What is it? the cowboy ate my balls. Like, what is that? What is the cowboy emoji with the 8-ball? You don't know what? Oh, fuck. Okay. 8. Now 3. God damn, that's gonna be mess, dude. 3-bit. You don't know what you just did to me, man. Because that's gonna be in my mind all fucking night. I'm not gonna be able to sleep tonight. Cowboy, help me, chat. What is this? What is this? Indiana Jones and Forza Motorsport 8. Maybe. That could be Indiana Jones. Portal asks, would I be pissed if Xbox put all their games to PS5? No, I wouldn't give a shit. I would still play them on Xbox. Cowboy 8. It's the new title from Xbox. You heard it here first, everybody. Cowboy 8 coming. A sequel to Cowboy 7, which nobody ever heard of. What about pool? Cowboy pool. Cowboy billiards. This new Xbox Live Arcade experience. Cowboy billiards. Take yourself and play billiards at the saloon in the old days. Portal, it says, so if Halo, Gears, Forza all on PS5, would you be cool with it? Yeah, I wouldn't care. I gain nothing from other people. I gain nothing from other people not being able to play games. Like, I honestly don't care about exclusivity. I understand the business of it. I think it's important for Microsoft to do it. And I think they should do exclusivity because I think it's going to benefit their business. But if they didn't, I wouldn't care. I would still just play the games where I want to play them. But that's a weird question because it ain't happening. Ain't happening at all. Jasper asks, are we sure it's not Cowboy 8 Your Balls? Maybe. Man, god damn it, 3-bit. You know, he did this before, guys. To me, but I got that one quick. He dropped a hint about a Star Wars game a long time ago. Which later was announced that Ubisoft was working on a Star Wars game. And I always thought that that's probably what he was talking about, but he couldn't tell me anything, right? But that was a couple years back. So, trying to think, Cowboy 8-ball. Indiana Jones. Calarie says Westworld game because the 8-ball is like a globe and Cowboy is from the Wild. Yeah, I think that's a stretch. Indiana Jones, Miles Morales. Why Miles Morales? You're gonna either go with Indy or New Vegas 2. That stumped me, man. I'm gonna go to hold on. Let me go to the my handy dan. Where is it? I have a list of announced Xbox projects. Maybe this has to do with Bethesda. So, but Indiana Jones, and I think this is probably regarding 2 games. Wait a second. Hold on, guys. The June 8th is the Summer Games Fest show. So what if Indiana Jones is going to be shown at Summer Games Fest? Would make sense for such a larger IP like Indiana Jones to be shown at an audience which is going to have people that don't just play on Xbox. Indiana Jones, June 8th. Could that be it? Because that's the date of the Summer Game Fest show. You don't know? Okay, whatever. Fuck. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. All right, so 3-Bit just completely sidetracked me. But yeah, the showcase. I could talk about the showcase for days because I got my wants, right. And again, I want those games. I want to see Perfect Dark from the initiative with Crystal Dynamics is working on it. There was a rumor, I think, that Eidos Montreal is helping with Fable and that team. So it would be Eidos Montreal and Playground working on Fable together, potentially. Rumor. Would make sense. And then we have, let's see, State of Decay 3. Now, it's interesting that State of Decay 3, I'm wondering if they're testing things in State of Decay 2 for State of Decay 3. Because they just updated State of Decay 2's mechanics with some of the things in the game. And maybe they're seeing the reception, how people like it and stuff. And maybe State of Decay 3 may be a little bit further along. And they're testing things out to get some things dialed in. Right? So maybe State of Decay 3 could be shown. And then Avowed. Avowed is the one that I feel the strongest about that could be there. But we'll see. I saw that Cowboy had an 8-ball. I knew what you're doing, bro. I'm gonna have to grill you on that later. All right, let's get to some get to another thing here. I know you guys saw this when I was scrolling earlier. So
What
I'm gonna play this real quick. Check this out.
What exactly would you have to look forward to? The only reason Microsoft has a significant offering this year with Hi-Fi Rush and Starfield and Redfall, that was because of an acquisition. Those aren't their studios. They didn't homebrew these games, which people are already trying to hand wave and pass the buck. This isn't on Microsoft. This is on Arcane. And I'm sure they'll do the same thing with Bethesda.
Okay, so this is something I wanted to discuss last week. And this was in a response to PlayStation's like lighter offering this year, which again, I talked about this in a stream last week, but like PlayStation's fine this year, right? My point of talking about the lighter year of first party from PlayStation was the double standard regarding Xbox, right? And again, double fucking standard, right? Does it matter? That Xbox acquired Bethesda and Activision, Bethesda's ZeniMax, and that's where some of the games came from this year. So, you could make the argument, well, where would Sony be without money having Final Fantasy 16 and Forspoken this year. Like, where would they be if they hadn't done that? Or like, where would they be if they hadn't gotten exclusivity on Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo and those other years to bolster their lineup? Like, what the fuck? Like, what does that even mean? Like, what kind of year would they even have? Well, guess what? They have the year because these are their fucking games. Like, I don't get the point. Regardless, if you look at it, PlayStation has one massive first-party game this year. Some other things they have MLB The Show, which is great. I fucking love it. Playing it in Game Pass, and they have Stellar Blade, which may still come out this year as well. And that was originally going to be on other platforms, and they acquired it, or not acquired it, but they ended up publishing it, and the name even changed and stuff. So, but it is what it is, right? Final Fantasy 16 is a big title for them this year. I think PlayStation overall is going to have a decent year this year, but like Xbox this year has so much already. Like Redfall is a flop, right? But you already had Hi-Fi Rush, which he named, Age 2. You have Ghostwire Tokyo hit Xbox, and if you don't want to count Ghostwire Tokyo, you got to give them credit for either last year or this year. They still released that fucking game from first party, right? Ghostwire Tokyo, Minecraft Legends, Redfall, Starfield, Age 4 is coming this year, supposedly still. Forza Motorsport. There's a lot there in first party for Xbox. So why try and belittle Bethesda ZeniMax acquisition of Xbox to trying to defend PlayStation's shortcomings on first party this year? That's weird energy. Like, yeah, they have them. Yeah, Xbox has Bethesda ZeniMax, yeah, which bolsters their lineup. Much like a PlayStation money having third-party games bolsters their lineup. Like, I don't understand, except the difference is Microsoft actually owns these studios in these games. Oh, Jasper says, oh, I'll get to your thing in a minute, Jasper. He goes to talk about they aren't Xbox Studios. Yeah, they are. They fucking own them now. What do you mean they're not Xbox Studios? Is Insomniac not a PlayStation studio? Like, do they not count because they were acquired? Insomniac is no longer, according to the logic here, everybody, Insomniac is not a PlayStation studio. Spider-Man, which is a franchise that they started working on before they were owned by PlayStation, it's not a PlayStation game now. Because, you know, logic. Nothing counts unless it was home brewed. God, that sounds like Colin Moriarty, doesn't it? Sounds like Colin Moriarty. It's like this double standard. It's like insanity. It's like delusional. It's so delusional. Doesn't matter. They acquired a lot of their studios. So did PlayStation. Are any of the studios that PlayStation acquired not PlayStation studios? I don't fucking understand. Tell me. Like, I know the ones that they keep shuttering are no longer PlayStation studios. This doesn't make any damn sense. Doesn't make any damn sense. Now, Jasper's tweeted, says Ed Boon news 15 minutes ago. So I'm going to hopefully you DM'd it to me. Okay, Ed Boon said this week should be fun. Now, it came out recently that the new Mortal Kombat was going to be a reboot, and it was going to be called Mortal Kombat 1. Those were the leaks, the rumors. So this week, I mean, it's already Tuesday. So that leaves the next few days. We're going to get some Mortal Kombat news. It seems like. And what a year for fighting games. If Mortal Kombat actually hits this year, and Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter 6, and also Tekken 8. Damn, that's a good year. This week should be fun. And then he put a little dragon emoji there. Interesting. By the way, the Rangers won again. Man, Rangers are kicking ass. Kate says, doesn't that dude always make posts like that, though? Yeah, Ed Boon does kind of tweet stuff a lot and kind of like egg people on and kind of troll and stuff. But I think when he says something like that, he knows what he's doing. Like if he doesn't deliver anything this week, like I think that there will be some massive disappointment. So I don't think he would do that and not actually deliver on something. The question is like, where could this news come from? Just random drop of news? Is there any gaming events this week at all? Like news events or anything like that? Or do we think we're just going to get a random announced trailer? Trying to think of what there could be where they would announce something large like that. Because I honestly thought that the MK announcement would be at either Summer Game Fest or Xbox show. Because it's a big announcement. I would think somebody would want it for their big showcase. But maybe it's releasing sooner than we think. And the time for the showcases would be time for a second trailer. Calarie says Sony's showcase is supposed to be next Wednesday or Thursday. Okay. So maybe they do like a teaser and say, full trailer next week or something. Possibly. I'm getting excited for these showcases. I mean, between the Sony showcase that's supposed to be coming and the Xbox showcase, the Summer Game Fest, all this shit, man, it's gonna be a blast. Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. Hey, if you're here, appreciate you being here. Hit the like button, share it out, sub to the channel, hit the notification bell, all that cool stuff. You greatly appreciate it. Shout out to all the channel members on the channel. You guys rock, and thank you for all the support as well. I'm just going to kind of go through the chat, and we'll kind of talk about what's what. Topaz Girl asked, was the Sony showcase announced officially? No, not yet. Not that I know of. Red Monkey Butt says, I bet Sony announced a showcase this Thursday. Maybe. Grubb said the week of the 25th, I think, didn't he? I think he said the week of the 25th, but like saying that it could be before that, which would mean next week. So you're talking about any time between the 22nd and the 25th, probably. Jasper, what's up with those now? Are you trying to like be a 3-bit and drop like clues? Is that old man orange alien or old lady man orange alien? What the hell's going on? Grandmas in Georgia on Mars. That sounds like a great name for a game. Tom for Toonami says, I don't think the Sony show is happening the week of the 25th. Even Grub made a joke saying, I'm telling them to cancel because they all are too thirsty. But maybe that was letting people down easy. How soon do they announce the shows before they come out? Don't they usually announce like only a couple days before the event? I mean, they could literally announce the show on Monday and do the show on like Wednesday. They kind of do like the Nintendo Direct thing where they don't usually give a whole lot of leeway or a heads up, right? If I remember right, that like Sony kind of does that like 3-day turnaround type thing. I could be wrong. I know Nintendo, like sometimes like Nintendo Direct tomorrow. Yeah, for state of play, yeah, but showcases have been at least a week. What if this is just a bigger state of play and they market it as a state of play? I mean, big showcases usually you would want even more leeway, you know. The thing is, like, I don't bet against Grub when it comes to rumors. Like, if this was like a random like Reddit thing or like somebody else, maybe even, you know, I'd be like, okay. But Grub usually doesn't miss on these things, especially when it comes to shows. I mean, he's missed before, but very rarely. I don't know. I think that I'll have faith in Grub's reporting when it comes to that stuff. But we'll see, I guess. I mean, he even released his summer game mess thing with the date on there, like the week of for Sony. Yeah, I don't have like Grub is probably like the best insider out there as far as like knowing things and releasing information. That when it comes to showcases and stuff like that. You have your Tom Henderson who's like a crazy leaker, you know. You have your Special Nicks of the world and stuff like that as well, you know. But yeah, Grub's usually spot on with his like timelines of events. I don't necessarily agree with all of his takes on things. You know, sometimes he has takes I don't really agree with, you know, but that's okay. We don't all have to agree. You'd say Schreier, Nate Dogg? Yeah, Schreier is very spot on, and you know if he says something, it's going to be true, but the thing is he just doesn't say a lot. It's only like when he feels like it. Or to try and crush like a narrative that he doesn't want out there, or like to shit on somebody that he wants to get smoke. He'll release stuff like that. Yeah, I'm not a fan of Schreier. Not at all. Yeah, I'm excited for the showcase. And guess what? We'll see Bethesda ZeniMax games there. And that's okay because they're part of Xbox. And where would they be without them? Who gives a shit? Because they got them. And it doesn't matter. Like, it's such a weird take. I can say, yeah, they wouldn't be as a stronger position, but they also wouldn't be like dead this year. They'd still have Forza, Minecraft Legends, possibly Hellblade 2 if that hits this year. And also Age 2, Age 4 Definitive Edition. It's like still a pretty solid year, even without Bethesda ZeniMax. Now, talk about heavy hitters. You know, the Starfield is different league, but that's for all of gaming, different league. Like, Starfield's a monster. Like, it's just very rare that games come out of that magnitude. And you say, well, Redfall, you can chalk that up as like, hey, maybe it would have been better if that didn't even exist this year. Should have been next year. So Jasper says, Jez followed up on the Ed Boon thing, saying Thursday is a good day, maybe. Interesting. Thursday, maybe a good day. Okay. Mortal Kombat announcement on Thursday. Let's go. God, freaking 3-bit still. That Cowboy 8. I still want to know what it is. 3-bit, are you in the chat? Can you answer me this? Does your Cowboy 8-ball emojis have anything to do with Bethesda ZeniMax? Can I narrow that down? Fragula says Vigilante 8. Yeah, that's a good one. Jasper says Indiana Jones and the Fate of something as a title. I don't know if he would do the Fate with an 8-ball. But, you know, we talk about Fate, 8-ball. Maybe it's Magic 8-ball, right? Because it is a Magic 8-ball, so it's like, maybe it's Cowboy Magic. Cowboy Magic. Interesting. Topaz Girl says the graphics are already crazy good. Hellblade 2 with 40K 60 frames per second. Yep. For sure. It's going to be amazing. 3-bit. Damn it. Okay. Oh, well. Don't mention the Cowboy is such a letdown. Oh, tell me about it. Oh, man. Longtime Cowboys fan. Superman says 8-ball means future. It also became prediction. Maybe he's saying his magic 8-ball tells him it's Indiana Jones. I think maybe he put the 8-ball there for the magic 8-ball for the prediction. Ah, see, I got it. Yeah, I see that. The 8-ball signifies he's saying this. And I think the Cowboys Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones is going to be at the Xbox showcase, maybe. Interesting. We'll see. I don't know. That's my thought based on that. I'm thinking about it. Like, I think that's what he meant. I think that's why 3-bit did the 8-ball. I think he did the 8-ball because he's like, you know, shake your magic 8-ball, and what does it say? And he's got the cowboy head there, and the fucking head is the Indiana Jones. It's Indiana Jones. So I'm thinking his 8-ball is saying Indiana Jones. I think that's what it is. Guess we'll see. Poison Maniac says get on a 3-bit show tomorrow. Yeah, we'll see if I can. would tie in with a movie this summer. Jasper's going back to Cowboys 8 Balls. Yeah, I want Indiana Jones game. I want to know what Indiana Jones is too. That's crazy. God, there's gonna be so many badass things that could be there. I'm pumped for it. Like, this show is gonna be crazy. All of them. I'm excited for PlayStations, Xbox, Summer Games Fest, and all that stuff. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap up the stream here, guys. We had some fun discussions. Got to talk about the CMA, some more Parliament stuff going on. Satya's putting that pressure on, that Satya smile. We got I got the shit on the Switch hardware for a while, which is great. As always, and I'm not trying. Hey, I just saying I want new, right? Let's go. Let's advance. And called into question some bad takes as well out there. But we had fun. And we also got to speculate on what the hell 3-Bit was talking about in the chat. So I think we had some fun here. I appreciate you all hopping in and having fun with me, making this a blast. Remember, if you like the content, hit the like button, share it out. Got 130 people here. We're 16 likes away from 100. 100 likes helps push the content a little bit more. People find these streams. So greatly appreciate anybody that hits the like button. And and thanks for being here. You guys rock. You guys keep this chat flying. I mean, this chat was flying like crazy today. So thanks for interacting with me and hanging out, because you make it worth doing and having a blast. But I'm going to go eat some food and then watch a movie and then go to bed and then get up tomorrow, see what kind of gaming news there is, cross my fingers for some Mortal Kombat stuff, play some games, work, eat. I'll live my life tomorrow. And maybe we'll see you on Thursday for PM in the PM at 7 p.m. Eastern time. PM in the PM, 7 p.m. Eastern. Pong Soul and I. It's going to be spicy this week. And then Friday, Xbox Ultimate at 10 p.m. Eastern time as well. 3-Bit wants to play Fortnite. Maybe, bro. Maybe. We'll see what Kate wants to do. But I need to eat. And if I see you saying don't eat before bed, I go to bed really late, so don't worry about that. Have a good one, everybody. Peace out. Take it easy.